Avengers re- review with gokaiorange, which is the Great Race.
We've discussed show co-creator Mike Moore a handful of times at this point, but for the uninitiated, Michael D. Moore, alongside his friend Walter Douglas Smith, worked together throughout the 90s as self-defense instructors, mainly for police officers and victims of sexual assault. What got the gears rolling in their heads for something more child-friendly came from mothers that attended their seminars asking if they could teach their kids. While ultimately being the brainchild of the whole idea and being the CEO of Educational Adventures as a whole, Moore was mostly hands off with the actual production of the show, instead opting to be the face of the business side of things, being interviewed by local news outlets, making partnerships with third parties, and authorizing home media releases. I say mostly because the only time he made any contribution to the show itself was a story idea for an episode, a story idea not picked up by Sean Roche, but Randy Rogel. Why exactly is Rogel suddenly in the writer's room? And what's this? Bob Nestler's back in the director's seat? What exactly is going on here? Originally broadcast on November 26th, 2005, this is The Great Race. We open in on a stadium in Edinburgh, USA one evening, where a monster truck rally is currently in progress. Our attention is focused on a young dog named Sparky, the very noticeable voice of E.G. Daily,
Wow, I want to drive one of those just like him.
his dad, and his two friends, a bird named Polly and a cat named Wendy. As they marvel at the stunts on display, we also find our attention with a naysayer off the nosebleeds.
That was incredible. That was nothing.
What do you mean? That was cool.
Are you kidding? He only jumped 10 cars.
Did not take Moxie to be a monster truck snob.
Okay, but why'd you have to compare Warley with Moxie? Couldn't you gone with Billy and Sim since they were Richard's voices? Well, best characters he voiced? I mean, sure, Moxie as well, but Hello Boston didn't exist since 2019. Even though this show was made in 2005.
This is Warley Weasel, our antagonist for the episode, pulling in I can do better than that on the stunts being performed. The announcer brings everyone's attention down to a trio of miniature monster trucks. But let's be perfectly honest, these are ATVs. These monster truck minis, as they're called, will be going on sale the following morning. And if you don't get one before they sell out, you'd be like, a total loser, man. Morley is especially envious of the monster truck minis, but can't afford it. After an offhand comment from one of his gang, the Weasel gets an idea.
Every kid wants one, huh? Hold up. What is it? I got an idea.
With the plan in motion, the gang splits off to spread the word. As they do, the announcer ends the rally, encouraging people to
The announcer? He looked like that rhino from My Gym Partner's a Monkey.
come back the following night, as the Danger Rangers will be special guests. Our main trio of kids find themselves roped in with Warley's scheme, leading to a short montage of them retrieving money. The following morning, all of the kids have gathered around Warley at a public park, where we finally hear the Weasel's plan in action. Warley is hosting a foot race, and for an entrance fee, you can enter and hopefully win yourself a monster truck mini. But here's the catch. There's no assigned route. There's just point A to point B. How you get there is all up to you. The only rules are you can't use wheels and no telling your parents. If that ain't a giant red flag, I don't know what is.
Yeah, it is a giant red flag, because a delinquent weasel trying to abuse kids by making them cross the street without patience and waiting for cars to move by and wait for the crosswalk to be clear. Wow. Okay, when I look at him, he reminds me of Duke Weaselton from Zootopia.
This way it'll be a surprise. A what? You get to surprise your mom and dad with a new monster truck mini. Won't that be cool?
Hey, Mom and Dad, remember that monster truck mini I said I really wanted last night? Well, I have one now. I'm not allowed to tell you how I got it, but I got it. Doesn't it look so cool? I didn't steal it, I swear. With the race only.
What are you What are you trying to say? Like, what makes you think these kids are gonna steal monster trucks? It's the weasel that's manipulating them.
Only a day away, our three kids start practicing, hoping to find the best route they can take. Meanwhile, Worley and his gang lap themselves to the store.
No way they can win.
Hey, you kids should be using the crosswalk.
Why? You stopped.
The beaver points out to Worley that the fastest.
Because you'll get injured, and the cars will probably stop and get yelled at you, and plus they'll cause a crash if they hit the other pulled over cars.
Route would have the kids crossing some pretty major roadways, which was all part of Worley's plan. By being forced to use numerous crosswalks, the kids will either have to jaywalk their way across town or be good little Samaritans and wait to properly cross.
Yeah, I forgot to set the live chat. Sorry, guys.
Which would slow them down immensely. Worley, meanwhile, plans to use the sewer systems as a shortcut to bypass the roads and claim himself the winner of the race. As the weasel enters the store to buy the monster truck, Rogel remembers what show he's riding for, and we cut to Mount Rushmore. We see the Rangers preparing for tonight's monster truck rally, Bert especially, as he puts the finishing touches on a jet that can transform itself into a monster truck.
Watch this. And now I'm depressed.
One disappointment
Needs more
later,
work.
and Sabo danger alerts the team to our three kids from earlier, caught in the middle of the boulevard. Police are en route, but the Rangers could get there much faster. Bert stays behind to finish working on their new vehicle, while the rest head into the hovercraft and fly off. It turns out Worley was right on the money. The kids realized almost immediately that using crosswalks would slow them down, so they tried jaywalking instead. Before the Rangers can even make it to the three.
You know, I have a joke for you guys. What did the chicken say to the letter J? Here's a little sentence. Here was the letter J who crossed the street without any traffic lights going on. Then when he went across the street, the chicken asked, "Hey Jay, why did you cross the road?" "Well, because I'm the letter J. I was jaywalking." Do you have a problem with that? That's no yoke.
Saba discovers even more kids attempted a jaywalk and are now trapped in between boulevards and avenues. As they ponder the implication for why all of this is happening, our main three make a break for it and try to make it across, only for a large truck to come barreling towards them. So, Randy Rogel. It's pretty safe to assume we all know exactly who Randy Rogel is. If not, what rock have you been living under? But
Probably a rock of musicals, of course. Come on, what's the deal, man?
it's important to remember that he wasn't just a songwriter. He wrote a lot of segments for Animaniacs, wrote 9 episodes of Batman the Animated Series, and 6 episodes of Hysteria, which I would argue comes the closest to Danger Rangers in terms of premise. An educational cartoon that had catchy yet informative songs to go alongside it. Danger Rangers was something of a short-lived comeback for Rogel, as this was the first cartoon in a number of years he was a full-time songwriter for. After Animaniacs and Hysteria ended, he mainly stuck to movie soundtracks, with films like The Trumpet of the Swan, Return to Neverland, and Cinderella 2. The closest he got TV series-wise to a regular songwriting gig was Disney's House of Mouse, which, yeah, when you go back and listen to these songs, they definitely scream Rogel.
The elephant's fun laughing at my ox in front of bear. He's 102 Dalmatians. You've been even on a chair. What about your Chip and Dale and Dennis Kangaroo?
That song was really good.
I'm Mr. Checker and the Ringlet and the Ringlet.
save the
I like
trio in
how
the nick of
Professor
time,
Patrick
while
roll calls all
Kitty,
the
Burble, and
classic
Squeaky
characters.
saved the rest of the kids. The Rangers reconvene in the middle of the park, where they interrogate the kids to see just why they all chose to jaywalk when the crosswalk was right there. Before they can even get a chance to answer, the Rangers break out into the first song of the episode, Use That Crosswalk.
You're walking down the sidewalk and right there before your feet. You're standing on the curb and now you want to cross the street.
Oh, wait a sec, just turn your neck. There's traffic passing by.
You can't cross here. The coast ain't clear, and that's the reason why you've got to.
Of all the songs Randy Rogel wrote for the show, this one's the Randy Rogeliest. Outside of Gabriella, it seems everyone gets a turn singing this one. Kevin, Gray, Rob, Jerry, even Mark and John get some lines. You can tell Rogel put his heart and soul into this one because his best songs come from the simplest of song ideas. Make a song listing every nation. Write a song about an earthquake. We need a catchy song about crossing the street.
Yeah, catchy songs for education.
All you've got to do is stay between the lines.
Watch out for traffic when you're crossing at the light.
A car could signal left, but then end up turning right.
Give him a simple idea for a song and then let him cook. After the song, the three attempt to bail, but Squeaky stops them dead in their tracks, still unsatisfied with the fact they had yet to say why they were jaywalking. With the threat of snitches get stitches lurking behind them, the kids still bail, leaving the Rangers left to ponder just what the hell is going on. But don't worry, Bert got their jet fixed. We then skip ahead to later that night, where night 2 of the Monster Truck Rally is currently in progress. The Rangers fly in and begin their show.
Hey everyone, are you having a good time? All right. Now remember, we're doing this in the right place and the right time with the right equipment.
Why? Why do they word it that way?
Dude, what are you talking about? What's the deal?
After your typical monster truck stunts, the group make their way to Polly, where they try interrogating again, this time one-on-one.
You know, Paulie, one of the things that makes us cool is that we always tell the truth.
You tell the truth too, don't you?
Very true.
After accidentally saying he'd be disqualified if he told, the Rangers play coy and pretend they're in on it, allowing the bird to spill the beans.
If I tell, I can't win the prize, and I don't get my money back either.
Say, Polly, where is Worthy?
It's right up there.
Thanks, Polly.
Hey, can I ride the Monster Mini tomorrow? You had it all day today.
Gotta wait your turn.
Your name, Willie?
The Rangers demand that the race be called off after the near disaster that happened early in the day and refund everyone's money. Worley fires back by saying he already bought the Monster Truck Mini and he can't get it refunded. In spite of his setback, Sully decides that the race will still be on, but they'll be the ones hosting it this time to make sure the kids don't endanger themselves by jaywalking across the city. After being threatened into agreeing to their terms by Burble, the race is back on. In spite of the Rangers now keeping a closer eye on things, Worley still has plans to cheat his way to victory. Cue the non-existent commercial break. We cut to the next morning, where the race is getting set to begin.
On your mark, get set, go!
As the race starts, Worley is dead last, jogging at a rather casual pace.
Look at that. Worley's last.
Sully, that may be true, but that was also uncalled for. It isn't long before we see why he's going at such a casual pace.
For
The rest of
sabotaging.
his gang are pulling the old sign switcheroo on the rest of the kids, forcing them to go off the path while Worley stays on the intended route. It isn't until Bert and Squeaky, who are running a rehydration station along the route, notice that Worley is suddenly wide out in front that that the Rangers start to suspect something suspicious.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Warley just passed the halfway point. He's in the lead. And there's no one else behind him.
How'd he get in first place?
But he was way behind, wasn't he?
I'm gonna check this out.
Burble takes to the hovercraft and discovers that the kids went the wrong way. Not only that, he sees one of Worley's gang messing with the signs.
Someone down there is moving the signs. The race is being sabotaged.
Burble, sweetie, you might be taking this a bit too seriously.
How is he being too serious? He's just warning the crew that it's being sabotaged.
It isn't long before Kitty and Sully see Worley making his way towards the finish line.
He cheated.
Excuse me a moment, guys. Sabo, take me down.
As Burble opts to take matters into his own hands, Sully and Kitty seriously consider disqualifying him, but Gabriella has another idea. She decides to enter the race herself.
There's not a person on the planet who could run that fast.
Run? Who said anything about running?
Hey, no fair. You can't fly.
The rule said no wheels. It didn't say anything about no wings.
I get the whole ain't no rules says shtick, but GB using her wings is still a pretty major advantage over everyone without wings. Wait a
that was just reverse psychology Sully just put there. Yeah, I mean, hey. Worley and his crew are the bad guys, though.
minute, why the fuck isn't that bird kid flying?
You mean Polly? I mean, Daffy Duck doesn't fly. I mean, sometimes anthropomorphic birds can't fly. Like Bird Brain from Tough Puppy, he can't fly. Only his henchwoman, the hummingbird, can, but not him.
Meanwhile,
Worley's plan was perfect. They'll never catch up. Come on, let's get out of here.
I don't think so.
Huh?
Hi, boys.
Oh no, he's hot.
Okay, don't take that too seriously, dude. I mean, Burble's just a big bear, and he's just doing his job stopping the bad guys.
we cut back to Rogel channeling his inner Chuck Jones as GB speeds along the route. It doesn't take her long to catch up with Worley.
The way Worley runs, the scenarios kind of look like Swiper the Fox.
And turn the race from one-sided to neck and neck. The Weasel falls after failing to knock GB out, costing him the race.
Did I win?
No, I did.
While Worley plays hypocrite and accuses GB of cheating, Burble returns with two of the Weasel's friends.
Hello, Worley. I believe these two are friends of yours. You fellas have something you wanted to say.
No, that's all right. She wins the race.
Gabriella admits she doesn't want the prize, not because she can't work a miniature monster truck, but because the prize was only meant for one person. Which, yeah? This was a race with a definite winner. You can't suddenly go all participation award and, hey, don't you cut away, I'm not done with you yet.
Well, I don't know what you were talking about, but it was the only way to stop Worley and his crew for sabotaging and for using children for not following safety guideline rules of crossing the street.
Cut to the third night in a row of this monster truck rally. The Rangers refund everyone's money that somehow doesn't end with a giant fist fight. Then Sully pulls an Oprah.
Kids, as a reward for keeping it safe, the sponsors of the Monster Truck Rally want all of you to look under your seats.
Oh, wow! Look, it's radio control.
You get a toy monster truck. You get a toy monster truck. Everybody gets a toy monster truck. Never mind the fact that you can't drive them yourselves. Toy monster trucks for everybody.
Now that's a much better prize.
And every kid gets one.
Burble, there was more than one mini monster truck. So theoretically, there could forget it. Kitty won.
Well, they had to, I don't know what to say, something like, help everyone out.
Wants to know just what happened with Worley and his gang, considering all of this was about 60% his fault. Sully informs her that they got community service. Better not be hanging around a fire station again or else I'm gonna fucking lose it.
Dude, this episode is about street safety, not fire safety. I mean, what does. I mean, if it was that, it has to be something that was fire illegally related. Because you know that. Because you know this would have. This wouldn't be that kind of community service. It has to be something that's related to the episode's subject.
We end the main story at Cute Reference Bro Elementary, where Morley and the rest are school crossing guards.
Okay, let's keep moving. Stay inside the crosswalk. Good pace. Look both ways.
Our epilogue takes us to the school parking lot, where Squeaky and GB are riding on the monster trucks the kids won. After Fallbot nearly severely injures slash murders his team members, the robot saves Polly from getting nearly hit by a car. Then does the exact same thing with Sparky. Then does the exact same thing with Wendy, proving that nothing was really learned after everything was said and done, huh?
I mean, they were too excited and too worried about their monster trucks being driving down the streets.
Because of this, we segue into the final song for the episode, Make Sure They See You. And I don't know, does this song sound the slightest bit familiar?
Yeah.
Got to make sure they see you when you're walking down the street. Make sure they see you from 150 feet. Everybody be water safe. Swim with a body or two. And before you go, make sure you know that someone's watching you.
Yeah, this song's chorus is cribbed almost directly from Everybody Be Water Safe.
Well, I mean, since sometimes can recycle the same notes. I mean, it happens. Like other cartoons can make a reference to a real life song, like Phineas and Ferb when Doofenshmirtz sang the Kimbalumber song in a Cab Calloway jazz form, and we even had regular show when Pops was singing "Snooze to Lose." And there was even some episodes that they were doing some montage with real life songs.
It reads like Rogel spent so much time on Use That Crosswalk that he didn't have time to properly write this one, leading to him cannibalizing one song for another. I'm not saying I outright hate this song, but it's definitely on the forgettable side of things. That seems to be a recurring theme so
Come on, I mean, this song was pretty catchy. It was one of my favorite songs in the show.
far, huh? One song is leagues better than the other one. I wonder how long this will keep going. Fed up with these kids, Fallbot opts to get it himself. But by the time he gets over there, Squeaky just pilots it back with remote control. The episode ends proper with everyone going back to race some more, leaving Fallbot stranded on the other side of the street. And it's gonna take him a while before he's allowed to cross again.
Third grade. Third grade.
Oh, poor robot. I mean, he could have just pressed the button so it could turn green.
In case it wasn't obvious by now, I'm not entirely fond of this episode. Proper crosswalk usage is unbelievably important, but I don't see how you can stretch that out